Okay, we'll get started. It's 12 o'clock. We're in the BPUB Annex Building, and this is the Facilities Program Committee meeting on August 8th, 2025. Do we have any public comments today?
No public comments.
No public comments, okay. We'll go ahead and start with item number 1, presentation and discussion on the Brownsville PUB AMI opt-out program. Edward Campirano.
Good afternoon, members of the committee. My name is Eddie Campirano, and I'm the Senior Customer Service Manager, and today we will be presenting information on the BPUB Advanced Metering Infrastructure Opt-out Program. So the purpose of the program is to provide a mechanism for customers to have the opportunity to opt out to receive an AMI meter and the AMI program as a whole. And so today, we're going to be talking about customer eligibility. Oh, excuse me, sorry about that. Getting ahead of myself. Program variables and the proposed fee structure. So in general, who is going to be eligible to opt out is going to be residential electric customers specifically. And so as you can see there, there's variables there of other customer classes that, but in general, what the customers that are going to be eligible for opt out is going to be residential electric. Okay. And so the cost methodology that went into this is we were able to look at data that's provided by, as you can notice here, by the IOUs because they were mandated to report the data. So on average, based on these utilities that have already implemented AMI full programs, is about 0.01% can be anticipated for customers to elect to opt out. So based on those numbers, we have approximately 48,000 residential electric customers. So we can anticipate approximately 480 customers based on that 0.01%. So that second set of data, those values at the bottom there is essentially that almost $700,000 is how much our O&M personnel budget is for meter readers. That's how much it costs us to employ meter readers currently to read meters, all the meters that we have deployed throughout the utility system. Based on our consultant and also data that we have, we are anticipating retaining 3 meter readers. So that $131,000 is how much essentially it's going to cost the utility to employ 3 full-time meter readers. That would be reading opt-out customers, A-base customers, and also just receiving reads that are periodically needed throughout the deployment and also into the program. Fee structure and comparison. So let's jump to the very bottom there, that third box there where other utilities. So we wanted to benchmark and also look at what other utilities are doing. As you can see there, there's 2 separate fees there. There's a one-time fee and there's also a monthly fee. So by comparison, this is what some of the utilities are doing there. So let's jump back up to the top, the one-time opt-out fee. And so it's very important, I want to mention here, that this is a cost recovery mechanism. This is not going to be a revenue source for the utility by any means. So again, this is just simply a cost recovery mechanism of how much it's actually going to cost the utility to continue to read traditional meters once the full AMI program is deployed. So customers that do have an AMI meter installed on their property at this point when AMI is fully deployed, they will be subject to a one-time fee. And what comes into that is the cost of the AMI meter itself, because at this time currently we are not able to reuse electric meters. That may be up for discussion in the future, but again, this is how current process now. Cost of the meter to install a non-AMI meter, and also the service fee, which is a meter serviceman going to the location and actually manually swapping out the meter. Now, I will say customers that do not have an AMI meter when this is fully implemented will not be subject to this cost. Again, it's just for customers who actually have an AMI meter existing at their location now.
Yeah, let me make sure I understand. So if
Yes.
you have a meter and they remove it, then there's a cost for that. If they haven't put it yet, then there's no cost for that.
Exactly. So customers that are actually wanting to or not wanting an AMI meter at this point, they're just being put at the back of the line. So they're being unaffected right now and not, if they're objecting to it at the moment, they're not being charged anything, and they're not being, they're keeping their traditional meter at this point.
Okay.
Okay. There will be a monthly reoccurring fee associated with reading the meter monthly, as we talked about that personnel budget, how much it actually costs the utility to employ a meter reader, and also actually having them go to their location to read the meter on a monthly basis. And we've calculated that cost to be $35 a month, and that's going to be a reoccurring fee on the customer's bill. And it will be clearly defined for them on their bills once it is fully structured. So that'll be very clear to them.
Do you have a question, or?
I'm sorry, yes.
So the $35 is gonna be monthly for people that don't wanna have the electric meter, right?
Correct. If they decide to opt out and have a traditional meter where it'll be subject to being traditionally read, then yes, they will be subject to that fee. Good point, because I want to reiterate that there's no cost for customers that essentially want to have their AMI meter. There'll be no cost for installation, no cost for reads or anything like that. Essentially, they'll be unaffected by that. Next steps in this program, we're going to be presenting this to the full board of directors on August 11th, on Monday. We will be finalizing the program guidelines document. Essentially, that'll be outlining every detail for this opt-out program, and also integrating the fees within the billing system, because we do have something, and they do have to be implemented. We want to make sure that they're clearly implemented and defined. We will be presenting to PubCap on December 17th, 2025. The reason it's August, they're having the annual banquet this month, so we're gonna jump on the September PubCap meeting. And of course, all information will be included on our website, publicly available in the form of FAQs, and working in coordination with our PR and communications department to make sure that we're effectively communicating this. Any questions?
Yes. On this note here, it says the price of the meter is $105.
Yes, that's correct.
And then, 24 for what's the $24?
$24, so essentially what's going to happen if the customer does have an AMI meter, that AMI meter is going to be removed. Our current practice is we do not reuse electric meters that are installed or currently installed or previously installed, and we will be replacing it with a traditional type of meter. So it's the cost of that old meter that we're not able, the AMI meter we're not able to reuse at this moment, and then the cost of that meter that's going to be put in its place, and then obviously the service fee that's associated with that trip fee, let's call it, for additional description. So again, that's only subject to the customers who actually already have one, not the ones who don't. And it does say variable, and thank you for bringing me back to this slide, because I did want to mention that. So variable meaning now since it is a cost recovery mechanism, now if the cost of the meters actually do decrease, that obviously one-time fee will decrease as well. And inversely, if it does increase as well, then obviously that fee would be increased. And we're looking at evaluating or looking at the cost of everything associated with the opt-out on an annual basis. So this program will be reviewed.
How many people do we have doing meter readers right now?
Right now, I believe we have 11 full-time, and I think we either have 4 to 5 long-term temps at the moment.
So we want to place them in another EPB, another place, right? So
I can't specifically speak to what we're going to be doing with those positions themselves, but I believe that's the intention.
Yeah, anything else? Daisy, any questions?
Yes, I have a question. Thank you for this presentation. I appreciate that we're being kept updated on this program. So my question is, why do we need an opt-out program?
We just wanted to provide customers the ability that if they so chose to, we wanted to give them the opportunity to do so. But that is also a utility decision whether if we want to offer it or not. There are some utilities throughout the country and the state that do not offer an opt-out program. So that is also at the discretion of the utility.
Okay, and you've had cases right now of people that have had their meters changed and they're complaining and they want to go back to a traditional one?
We have had customers, because we do have a third-party contractor that's going out and making contact, or also coordinating with customers where they see them on location. It's been less than 20 thus far. So we're actually right on track based on the number of meters we've already installed, and the customers that have, let's call them, put it at the back of the line, that have chosen at this point not to have their electric meter installed, is on track really close to that 0.01%. So it's a very small number.
Okay, but so there's some that are choosing not to have it upgraded, but
Correct. Yeah,
how many,
that is correct.
how many have chosen to go back to non-AMI meters?
So again, we haven't swapped them yet. Essentially, if they're wanting to not have an AMI meter, they're just being skipped over.
I see. So you have not had any that, like where this would apply, the 179?
Correct. That is absolutely correct, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess
Okay,
as
so-
of now, the opt-out program doesn't exist.
Correct.
This would formalize it and then allow people to do that. So perhaps that number may increase, but at the moment, even if they're complaining, we're not removing the meter necessarily.
Correct. That is correct, yes. Because we're anticipating completing the meter changeouts, let's call it that, in March of 2027. So we still have, a significant amount of meters that have yet to be changed.
Okay, to my
Okay.
understanding, this MMI meter is, I mean, you're gonna be able to see it on your phone, right?
Absolutely. The benefits to this are
Now,
incredible.
my question is, are you gonna train I mean, there's a lot of old folks, they don't know how to use things on, are they gonna be trained, the customers?
Yes, and so we're going to be, the AMI program itself has to do a lot of components, and that's part of it. So there's going to be a forward-facing portal that's going to be very intuitive and very informational for customers, and how to utilize that program and how to read the data is certainly going to be part of that communication effort. Because we certainly want people to participate, prescribe, and pay attention to their consumption, so.
Daisy, sorry to interrupt, did you have any more comments or questions?
No.
You good? All right, Eddie, well, thank you very much. I think we're good.
Thank you.
Yeah. Moving on to item number 2. Presentation and discussion to renew BPUB board printing and mailing services for bills and reminder notices.
Good afternoon, committee members. My name is Evelyn Garcia. I am the Billing and Collection Manager. In September 2023, the Board of Directors approved a 3-year contract with the board option to renew. Since then, DataPros has been our vendor for printing and mailing services. This will be our 3rd and final year. Currently, we provide utility services to approximately 73,000 customers. DataPro prints and mails approximately 780,000 bills and reminder notices annually. Additionally, our additional services are letters, they mail letters, inserts, and notifications. The renewal rate for each billing services remains the same. Our current term is October 19, 2024 through October 18 of 2025. We are requesting the $600,000. The cost does vary monthly based on the number of bills or mailing pieces that are mailed out. Do you have any questions?
So essentially, the 3-year contract is ending October 18th
It
of
ends-
this year?
Correct. Well, that'll be our second year.
Second year,
it'll be
okay.
Our second years,
Yeah,
yes.
So we'll be renewing the 3rd year.
Right, the
Okay.
3rd and final year.
Okay, have you had any issues?
No, we don't have any issues.
Okay. Was there another slide that you were going to cover, or?
Just the rates that are on there. The total will be 580,000, 545,000. The rates did not change for this coming fiscal year. They remain the same.
Yeah, so just some background, at least for Martin, who's just joining us. Previously, we did do a full benchmarking, and they presented different suppliers, different costs, when the recommendation was originally made for the 3-year program.
Correct.
So for us right now, it's just really, every year we just bring it, is brought back to the board for us to consider renewing within the 3 years that we already agreed with them. So it's kind of a moot point, but okay. I think, Daisy, you have any questions?
No questions, thank you.
All righty.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 3, presentation discussion on the proposed revisions to Utilities Assistance Program.
Good afternoon, committee members. My name is Estrella Solórzano, and I am the Director of Customer and Support Services for Brownsville Public Utilities Board. Today, I'm going to be presenting to you proposed revisions to BPUB's utility assistance programs. BPUB currently has 2 assistance programs that were created to assist residential customers who are in some sort of financial distress and meet specific program guidelines based on each of the program's specific guidelines or requirements. These 2 programs have been historically funded by community donations or employee donations, all members of the community, or community events. I will begin today by going over the ELIAP program guidelines. These are the current guidelines as of August 8th. Created in 2016, the ELIAP program assists low-income customers who are both low-income and elderly. And low income is considered a household income that is within the 125th percentile of the federal poverty guidelines. The elderly is defined as a person that is 62 years or older. It does have some limitations, and the limitations are that this program is capped at a maximum of $200 per 12-month period, and if you're receiving assistance through any other program, we cannot apply 2 assistance during the same month. So you would have to wait to exhaust the assistance that you receive from somewhere else, and then you could reapply and get the assistance through ELIAP. The second program, funded in 1985, is the SHARE program, and this program assists low-income customers who are in need of assistance to pay their utility bills as a result of some sort of financial distress. Through this program, you would have to satisfy at least one of the following program requirements, which is different, right? ELIAP requires you to be low income and elderly. In SHARE, you have to satisfy at least one of the following. Number 1 is you have to be low income, so your household income should not be more than 150% of the federal poverty guidelines, or you receive food stamps from TDHS or medical assistance from the state agency. Please note that this item was changed on April 13, 2020 as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. This program initially had a 125 requirement for low income on the percentile of the poverty guidelines, but it was modified to be able to assist an additional amount of customers that were being impacted through COVID. So it directly aligned with the ELIAP guidelines. This program is also administered by third parties that are responsible for ensuring that the customers who are applying to receive an award actually meet the program requirements. This is the same as ELIAP. All of our assistance programs are managed by a third party and is also funded by community donations, employee donations, or community events. These program guidelines were actually, like I mentioned, they were modified on April 13, 2020 to be able to assist an additional amount of customers who needed assistance through COVID. There was a lot of funding that was actually available either through the federal government, so we wanted to kind of move in that same direction to be able to do that. The program guidelines currently in regards to medical expenses, the ability to prove some sort of disability in the household, or funeral expenses and recent unemployment, those were there. It was just the ability for customers, the threshold on the low income actually increasing to 150, as well as we were able to assist more customers because instead of customers only being able to receive a one-time $200 or a one-time up to the amount of the bill or capped at $200 for a 12-month period was increased to being able to get to being able to request assistance in 2 months increments. So people were being able to get assistance throughout the entire year. And that's important. So just to kind of give you a little bit of an idea of who qualifies for the SHARE program today, if I have a medical expense, because it's very general, it doesn't state how much, it's just unusually high. So to me, an unusual high medical expense, if I don't go to the doctor, could be defined as $100. So I could qualify if I have a $100 receipt, just because those guidelines are very general. Funeral expenses would have to be $250. So anybody that would have a $250 expense as a result of funerals, right, would qualify. If I have somebody in the household who's disabled, I would qualify. So even though I don't meet the description on the low income, just because of that unusual expense, I become somebody that can receive assistance through share. So we are looking to go to the board and request that you guys approve revisions that are currently from our current program to be able to revert back to COVID. So with the
To COVID or
the
before?
pre-COVID, sorry about
Pre-COVID,
that,
okay.
the pre-COVID. My apologies for that. So I do want to mention that also on April 13, there were several changes that occurred through this program, and we received a one-time exception and a $2 million allocation to be able to assist customers. We anticipated that customers were going to have a lot of need and would be requesting funding through SHARE. However, because there was a lot of money that was available through the federal programs, the SHARE wasn't really being utilized. During that 2020 board presentation, we anticipated that the $2 million were going to exhaust within that month, but that did not happen. So we have been able to continuously assist customers through that one-time allocation, and the reality is that we have not received any customer or community donations in a while. So with the funding now depleting 5 years later, we are looking to revert back. And the revisions that we are bringing to the board are, we are looking to merge the BPUB SHARE and ELIAP programs. We would eliminate SHARE and move the guidelines over, eliminate ELIAP and move the ELIAP guidelines over to SHARE. We would remove all of the general listings on the SHARE program, like medical expenses or funeral expenses, and just leave it to low income. Because if we just have low income, that would qualify customers that currently qualify through ELIAP. We are also requesting to revert back to the 125 percentile instead of the 150, and we are looking to only approve a 2-month or $200 cap. A cap assistance in the amount of the bill not to exceed $200 once every 12 months, which again, that was the same as pre-COVID. So if approved, we would only be able to assist customers that are new customers, and we won't be able to assist that same customer until the last day when they submitted the first request for an award. Those are the main things. That obviously changes the definitions because the program does include some definitions, and I know that you guys received a copy of what the program current Redline program looks like, as well as the clean, if approved, would be amended to on August 11th. Because I wanted you to see kind of how that would look and how that would impact the definitions at the bottom, because we would be removing the elderly definition and modifying the low income to 125 and removing the qualifications under the food stamps programs, because those programs actually have different percentiles. Currently, we do have a balance of 100,000. So that number varies because it does accrue interest, so it varies month to month. We received some information today that it is about 140,000 that we actually have remaining. This is as of July 2025, so as of today, that's what we have. And I am requesting today, if you have any further recommendations to change the current guidelines, if you would like, if you have any recommendations to modify our proposed revisions to the guidelines, because we would like the board to recommend approval of these revisions to be able to allow for continuity of the program moving forward on the next board meeting scheduled for August 11th. And with that, I'll open it up to the board.
Okay. Yeah, just a quick general question. With the changes, would we expect to help less or more people?
So currently, we are receiving requests from customers, from the same customer multiple times, because when the program was expanded, the program allowed for you to be able to request assistance in 2 months increments. So if I qualify today, I am going to try to qualify for as many times as the program allows me to qualify. So this would actually give the opportunity for customers that have not received assistance in the past to apply to get assistance. Currently, anybody that applies for assistance and takes advantage for the program, as long as they meet the guidelines, they should be able to receive an award. So again, this would allow new customers to receive an award through this program.
Sure, and when you say new, you don't mean new PubCap
Not new
customer ratepayers, you mean new as in you're expanding the population that could participate in the program?
So right now, everybody can participate in the program and everybody can submit an application. Whether you qualify or not depends on the documents that you submit and the third party actually verifying that that information meets the guidelines of the program. What it would do is, if I have never applied in the past, right, I can come in and submit an application. But if I applied 2 months ago, at this point, I wouldn't be able to submit an application because it would not be within the 2-month period. So it's not necessarily somebody that's new to BPUB, it's just new to submitting an application to the
Yeah.
program.
So in a way, we're expanding the number of people that we could help because of that.
Or we're allowing different customers,
Yes.
To submit.
Additional customers,
customers, right.
Because of the limited funding.
Because of the limiting funding, yes. Now, I do want to say that we are exploring funding mechanisms. So we are collaborating with our local council to see if we can bring forth to the board additional programs that we would like to deploy. That's still pending, correct? Because we have not finished the review and the internal staff has not been able to get a clear response as whether or not we could do those. We're also looking at additional funding mechanisms through requesting assistance from our community partners to bring in donations to be able to expand the funding. But again, at this point, in order to continue to fund the program, we would need to have those come in. The program guidelines have always been subject to funding availability, and that has been very clear in the guidelines. So we want to ensure continuity. We want to continue to assist our customers, and we want these to be out there so they can request through an application process, right? So that's where we're at. I personally am recommending that these are approved to allow for that continuity until we can bring something forth, or if we are not able to, at least we'll have that where we can limit that, right? Because we cannot guarantee that funding coming in because it's through donations.
Okay. Did you have any questions, Daisy?
No, I think these are good revisions. I agree.
Can you repeat that?
I think these are good revisions to the program.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Zamora. So it is, this item is currently under the consent for Monday's meeting. I will be sending the program, just like it was distributed to you today, with the red line version as well as the clean version. The reason why that was not done, because I needed to speak to you to determine if there were going to be any additional revisions or recommendations, so that will be forwarded to the board and added to the packet. Are we okay to proceed under consent for Monday?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
As far as funding sources, is that something that's also going to be shared, at least the potential of what you guys are looking at, or do you?
Not for Monday. We are, that's included in the agenda summary that BPUB staff is looking at funding mechanisms. Because we don't have anything that's already established or clear, I cannot bring in proposals, it's too early, right? But again, because that funding coming in is not guaranteed, the revisions to the programs will stay until further notice, or if we're able to bring in enough. Just to give you a little bit of history, the funding on this program has never been $2 million. It varies between 20, 40, I mean, the numbers vary, and that's $1,000 for a year. That's why the limitations to the programs were the way that they were, and that's why we want to bring them back, because the funding has always been lower than that one-time allocation.
Yep. No, understood. Yeah, I don't have any more questions. I think we're good to
Okay.
proceed. Thank you for the presentation.
Dr. Zamora, thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And believe it or not, that's the last item, so I think we're good, unless there's any other board comments or questions. You good, Daisy?
I'm good. Thank you.
All righty, well, thank you, everyone. This concludes the meeting.